Well, good evening, everyone out there in internet land. Welcome along to the Studio Rats Q&A Live, number 46, believe it or not. My name is James Ivey.
I'm Paul Drew.
And joining us all the way from Brisbane, Australia, please welcome Mr. Stephen James.
Hello, guys. How you going? Or should I say g'day? G'day, guys. How you doing?
G'day.
At this point, I have to say it is 8 p.m. British Summer Time. Stephen, what time is it for you?
5 a.m. Yes, and I woke up early, not with my trying to work it out. I'm not very good at working the zone, so I've been up for a few hours, but that's okay. It's worth it for you guys.
Brutal,
Wow.
absolutely brutal.
Brutal.
Dave Stockton's in the house. Welcome along. What I'm going to do is I'm going to post the link so you can join us in the show. We've got something a little bit different to start off this time. We'll get into that in a moment. I'm going to post the links. If anybody else wants to join us, we can go 4 up in the room if needs be. So come in if you've got something to add at any point or want to raise a question. We are going to start with our kind of pre-planned topic. I can see there's 8 people in the room already. Welcome along, everyone. Say where you're from, what you're up to, and stuff. Paulie Drew, what have you been up to this week?
What have I been doing? I have been. That's a really good
other than trashing guitars.
Oh yeah. Apart from smashing the guitar, that was at the weekend. That was the weekend. Yeah, not good. What have I been doing? I've been sorting out the studio. So I did a video the other day about sorting out the studio, changed everything around. That's where I smashed up the guitar, and yeah, and I'm just getting sorted for the next bundle of YouTube videos and stuff. Everything's getting completely changed, cameras and switches and all that sort of stuff. So it's all it's all really changing at the moment. But I'm really
very
pleased.
exciting.
Yeah. So I'm hoping to be able to. The thing that I used to do when we started this channel was I used to be able to get like a video out in 2 hours, and nowadays it takes all day to do. And I think I've worked out a way. So I think I've worked out a way to get back to the old way, but still have the quality of the cam and all that of the 2 hours. So that's what I'm hoping.
Awesome.
Yes.
Well, I have been. I've started the task of packing the studio.
Have you?
I've started.
Nice one.
It's quite scary because I've seen what I've got to achieve, and it's a scary thing. So I've started. I'm going slowly rather than try to dive in and get everything done in like 2 days or whatever like that. Slim down what I do and don't need for everyday kind of operation in here. Yeah, that's pretty much been it. And researching some new up and coming projects and stuff like that, which has been good.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Should we dive into our opening topic tonight?
Let's do it.
Which is why Stephen is sat over there. Hopefully it's over there. It could be over there. Who knows? So last week we got an email from Stephen. First of all, saying lots of lovely pleasantries and how wonderful Paul and I are. So,
thank you.
That's enough of that. But then going on with quite an involved question that I thought, you know what, this is actually a show in its own right. So I'm going to rattle off some of it. I've kind of condensed it down. So it says something along the lines of, wanted to ask if you'd be interested in giving some advice about what you consider the minimum requirements someone would need to set up their own recording equipment. For most average musicians, we just want to be able to record a basic 3 or 4 piece band, vocals, guitars, bass, and live or electronic drums. Electronic drums. Over the years, I've invested, as probably many other musicians have, in computers, interfaces, microphones, and various software packages, but never really could get everything to work with each other and had problems with sound cards not matching software, never enough RAM or CPU power, clipping, distortion, not enough tracks, etc. So I'm asking, can someone get a really solid recording platform when purchasing a standard off-the-shelf PC or Mac? And what's the basic interface or software do you require? Music software has so many awesome bells within them. Most average musos don't require much more than be able to record and play back their tracks with basic editing, like in the old days of recording to tape. Assign a track or tracks, play, hit record. I hope you understand what I'm asking. And after reading your working histories and bios, I think we are fortunate that you guys are providing your knowledge, experience, and advice to us. Love your work. Cheers, Stephen James, Brisbane, Australia. And I promise
Did I write that?
Believe it or not, you did. Yeah. So what I thought we'd do, find out where you're at right now, as in the gear you're using, and what you're doing, and then maybe Paul and I can suggest some stuff and maybe throw some curveballs in that you might not have thought of. And we're going to do this whole handy thing because we've discovered that it cuts out. So a wave of the hand doesn't just mean that we're being friendly. I've got something interesting to say. Paul Drew.
And it's the only way to shut James up. So just to let everyone know, don't stop your questions tonight. We are going to get round to doing questions and talking about other things. This is just the first part of the show, so keep your questions coming and we'll get everything answered as soon as we've finished with Stephen from Brisbane, Australia.
Indeed. So, Stephen, what are you currently using? What's your requirement? I know from various questions you've put to us throughout the whole Q&A debacle that we've had so far. You're a rockabilly guy. So tell us where you're at, what you're using and stuff.
Okay, well, basically it's a three-piece rock and roll rockabilly band, and so basically bass, guitar, vocals, and live drums, and not stand-up bass, just normal bass, so that's fine. So we've got no problems recording that. I think the main problem is recording live drums. I mean, a lot of people. A lot of the younger generation have been using software and using looping for drums and all that, so they get away with the problems of clipping and distorting and all that sort of thing. But I'd love to have it so I'm able to get a band in the room and kind of have the gear, turn it on and record what we do, and that's about it. And then just do the minor edits, maybe, even if I don't do solos and stuff, keep it full and then do solos later, or double up on the vocals or stuff like that. So it's not using so many tracks, but even at that point, throughout the years, buying PCs and cards and stuff like that, nothing seems to be compatible all the time. It's always you need to upgrade this, or you need to upgrade the CPU, or more RAM, or hard drive. But I think we've gotten to a stage now where you can get a good off-the-shelf PC that's running so many programs now. So what am I kind of missing? So I do use a Mac, and it needs to be upgraded. It's an old one now, so. And that was probably one of the reasons of my question, to kind of, do I go and buy just an off-the-shelf Mac again and start from that as a platform and then go from there? Now, I use the Soundcraft Signature 12 desk. I bought one of those. We use that live, but it also has an interface in it, so we were thinking ahead to kind of use that when we go down to the recording side of things. So that means we've got enough tracks to put the whole drum kit in if we use all the drum mics and all that sort of stuff. And basically, what kind of software? I mean, look, you guys are great when it comes to knowing what software does and what plugins do and all that sort of stuff. But again, for the average muso, we just want to record a nice, clean, undistorted, unclipping type sound of all the instruments. And then even if we can take to someone else to mix or something like that, but at least got the raw basis of what we want to do, I think I mentioned a story to you guys about us trying to go to a studio, and the guy was going to spend 2 days to record a three-piece rock and roll band, where we were going to go in and go, okay, we'll do 10 songs off the cuff like that. We know them, we can do them. And he's going, oh no, it's going to take a day for us to mic up the kit and make sure the kit's right and all that. And we go, it's just not us, it doesn't need to be that way. So great, they're probably going to give us a better sound and all that, but do we need it for the type of band we are, So that's basically the gist of it. So
okay. So we're talking. I mean, I'll start with drums because it's clearly the most important instrument in the whole band. How big a drum kit? We're talking one up, one down, kick, snare, overheads.
Yeah, simple 4-piece. So floor tom, one tom, and then that's it basically.
So you could actually do a really nice job on the kit with 4 mics.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. How many vocals?
Well, we have up to 3 vocals, but I mean, I'm even happy even if I do the main vocals, then we can do backup vocals as an overdub. That's fine,
Cool. Okay. Then guitar and bass. 1 mic on it.
The ability to be able to take things off and put things back on if things don't work. Have that. So if you're going line in with the guitar and the bass and even vocals, you can edit. They can even delete them and start them again or whatever. But at least you've got the basis of what you're doing. And then so again, it's the drums. And that was the other thing with the drums. Do we go to an electric kit for recording? Or can we still use a live kit? Yeah, I know. My drummer would kill me. I mean, it's just like giving me a Squire when I'm using a Gretsch and say, here you go, play that, because that's what the best thing for recording is. You know what I mean? You've got to feel comfortable with what you're using,
I sort of disagree. I disagree with that. I think James is a drummer. It's like, to me, an electric kit is like getting a modelling amp. It's the same sort of thing.
It's not the same. It's not the same.
How is it not the same thing?
Because an electric kit does not play or feel in the same way as an acoustic kit. It just doesn't. It's not the same. It's like saying to you,
that's the same.
It's like saying to you,
Yeah.
So you've got your £2,000 guitar into a £1,000 amp into etc. etc. Oh, and by the way, you've now got to play with a marshmallow pick. It's not the same. It isn't the same.
It's the same. It's the same as I prefer the reaction of a valve amplifier. It is. It's what you're used to. If I know a drummer that doesn't mind playing with electronic kits, and a drummer that likes playing that doesn't mind that likes playing with and like a proper drum kit. But it's for horses, for courses, it's different. It's a different thing. It's like, do you like an amplifier? Some people have got, if you're rockabilly, maybe you've got your Fender Bassman. I don't know what you do. What do you use?
I use a PV Classic 20.
Great. Okay, so you've got your PV Classic 20. You know how that reacts. And then if you plug into a Line 6 Helix, you'll go, oh, God, that feels a bit different. Is it not the same?
Yeah, I must admit, I bought a GT 1000. And after seeing reviews everywhere, I thought, is this going to be suitable for me? And it's the only piece of equipment that I've ever returned the next day because it was just too hard for me. And I actually, when I took it back to the music store, the guy who I bought a lot of gear from, he kind of went, I was so embarrassed. I said, look, I'm really sorry. I've got to bring this back. I just can't get my head around it. It's too much. And he said, if you would not believe how many people bring back this type of unit or a Helix or whatever, because you just don't get it. I mean, and it's expensive. It's not like something, how you buy a piece of gear and you go, yeah, it's great, but I'll put it away, but it's not going to be what me.
Yeah.
But that was a piece of equipment where I went, wow, $1,500. It's too much to kind of just leave it sit there. So I took it back. But it's because you're doing modeling to an amp, and I still couldn't get my head around going, well, if it's telling me to turn all the cab simulators off and use my amp, then all I'm using is stomp boxes. It's a very expensive stomp box. But that's another question for another day. But that's, but for recording, if I bought the GT 1000 and stuck it straight into the desk and left it there, and that was what I got the sounds I wanted, which is what I'm doing with the Katana, with what you guys are, kind of doing, that's fine. But yes, probably best for me to just go out of an amp and I know my sounds and go from there.
Jess, you're a one mic in front of the amp sort of guy. Perfect. Yeah, great. Got it.
So but I mean, I'm going to defend real drums till the cows come home, just because I'm a drummer who plays real drums. I think for the style of music you're playing, you would hate the sound of electronic drums. Just the tones you get are not right. It's the wrong thing. It's the wrong thing. If what you're playing is all about vibe and feel and authenticity, electronic kit is not the way forward. I agree. It's probably easier, a stereo pair versus 4 microphones. Matt Wright has put a Glyn Johns technique would work perfectly for what you're doing. So I'm going to say you need a minimum of 4 mics for drums.
Can I just say? And we got to stop this because we're going to argue. We will argue till the cows come home. But sounds, it just depends on what kit you're using. If you're triggering stuff, there's some amazing samples. The only thing that I would say, Stephen, is if you're not used to mixing a drum kit, it is one of the hardest things because the sound of a mic'd up drum kit is not the sound of drums.
That's true. That is true.
So it can be really, you know, you can get like drums recorded and then people just go, I can't be bothered with this because it just sounds, it's too hard and it sounds rubbish. But anyway.
So let's agree to disagree on that one.
Okay. Yeah.
But you've already got some kits. So you've talked about that Soundcraft mixer, which it's got 8 mic pre's in it, but I think it's a USB interface.
That's right. Yeah.
So 4 for drums. Let's just say 4 for drums because we can. Vocal, guitar, bass. Hey, maybe even 2 vocals at the same time.
Yeah, perfect, isn't it?
There we go. That's now the cool thing is that if let's pretend you have no gear at all, just for a moment. If you were getting into this from scratch, a lot of the I don't want to say low end interfaces. I want to say the more the wrong word is cheaper, because they're not. Cheap does not equate to bad anymore with things like a Focusrite 18i20, for example, which has 8 really nice sounding mic pre's for about 400 quid, 500 quid. You get a lot of bang for your buck these days. The fact that you've got a mixer there that's got 8 mic pre's on it already, bonus. You should be able to use that. Absolutely no problem at all. The idea of having to fork out for gear again, I think, is a complete misnomer. I think if you've got 8 mic pre's and you've got a way that those microphone preamps are going to talk to your computer, be it PC or Mac, I think that's the key. If you've got a system that's working, now the caveat to that is the system that's working. The thing you're going to need to make sure is that you have the latest up-to-date driver software for your interface and for your system. So I would go to soundcraft.com, go onto the page, go onto the download pages, and make sure you have the latest drivers for PC or Mac, whichever platform you're on, and plug it in, and it should just work. That is pretty much it. These days, especially with Mac OS, there is no faffing or drivers. They just work, or they just don't. That is my experience.
Yeah.
Paul, got any other ideas for alternatives? I mean, the Focusrite.
I don't even think you should be looking at interfaces. I think I would rather you save that money and spend it on a better computer, a more spec'd up computer. And because you've got the interface, you don't need anything else. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's nothing that you're going to benefit from buying another interface.
Right.
Yes and no. Yes, no. But this is true. If you're 3 guys in a room playing together, and you've got guitar amps and you've got real drums, and you can basically give yourself a basic, and we'll talk about this as the extra stuff that you might need on top of the things on top of the computer and interface hardware, the other stuff you may need. If you're all on headphones and you can hear the drums acoustically, you're using headphones primarily to hear the vocals, and you can hear and see each other, you're gonna have a great recording. It's a great place to start. If you're starting to do stuff in isolation, and you need to be able to get a different monitor mix for different people, the more complicated you make it, the more complicated and more expensive it's going to get. If you can do it in the room before you even start messing with the tech, if you can hear each other, other than maybe the vocals, if you can hear each other playing drums, guitar, and bass, and if you can see each other, you're halfway there. You're halfway to a great recording. Before we even start talking about interfaces and mixers and computers, you're halfway there, because you're taking out of the equation the most difficult part, and the thing that most studios fail horribly on, and that is, Paul,
headphone mixes.
why do people not start with the headphones? It's the passion killer.
But
I'm quite passionate about this.
But Stephen, that's the question. I think that is the question. This is why I don't think we need to worry about this too much. Is because they used to playing live together, and if it's playing live together, I wouldn't put headphones on. It's going to spoil the vibe. They used to playing live, so I wouldn't even worry about headphones yet.
No, I think you're absolutely right. Keep it real. Keep the vibe real. The hardest thing to capture is vibe, and if you're used to playing together and you're used to doing it, that's half the trick. Now, you said about studios saying, "Oh, we need to spend a day getting the drum sound." I'm like, those days are gone. Those days are past. I remember reading. Have you ever read Making Rumours? Ken Callier's book about the making of the Fleetwood Mac album Rumours. They spent 4 or 5 days getting drum sounds. Now, that doesn't happen in studios anymore. You put the mics up. If the drums sound good, the drums sound good, because there's so much you can do in the mix. I've never been in a studio and them spend more than half an hour on drums, and if they have, it's never got any better.
Jeez, I've always tried to spend as much time on drums as possible. Okay. So isn't that funny? Yeah, that's. Yeah, it's funny how we disagree so much on certain things. There's a reason why Rumours sound so good. There's a reason why Rumours sound so good. There's a reason why drums used to sound so good. There's a reason why drums sound shit now. And you have to spend a lot of time. The amount of time when I'm mixing drums, the amount of time you have to spend processing and fixing stuff, because the amount of time it hasn't been taken.
But
it does make a difference. Drums are, it's not like it's sticking, a mic in front of a guitar amp and moving around. Right, there it goes. Dosh. Drums are.
Agreed. But where I was going, not necessarily about drum sound particularly, or we're going to get drum sounds, is that the phenomenon of red light fever. You as a band could stand up on stage and do a 2-hour set and rattle off 20 songs and get them pretty close. And there would still be moments where you go, "Oh, I'd do that again." You are going to struggle to do more than 5 songs a day. Unless you are the top Nashville session guys who'll rattle off 3 songs in a 3-hour session, you're going to struggle to do more than 5 in a day, because mere mortals, concentration doesn't go that far. It just doesn't. 5 songs a day is, and that's pushing it. I would normally say to a band, if I've got a band in, 3 songs a day.
Yeah.
Because reality kicks in. Now, of course, if it's your own space, or you've booked a rehearsal room for 3 days, you're not forking out an arm and a leg because you're bringing your own gear in.
That's right.
But there is definitely a reality check there.
Yeah, and also they're a rockabilly band, James. I think if they're quite used to playing together, I think you guys, if you're interested in recording a live set, you could easily do what you want to do. I think if you're looking at recording perfection, then yeah, James is right. You need to, because you'll listen back and you go, "Oh, I could have done that better. I could have done that better. I could have done that better." And
yeah, absolutely. When you record yourself and you listen to it, you hear where your faults are. I mean, you're singing, you're playing, you're doing solo back to chords, and you kind of go, "Oh," if you hear it and you isolate it, you go, "Oh, I'm doing that wrong on that." You pick it to death, basically, kind of thing. Yeah. So, but it's just going to. So, do you recommend then just doing the line outs of the amps and recording the amp and the bass direct, or still mic them up? You would prefer to do it that way?
What I would do, I'd mic up the guitar cabinet. I'd get some sort of splitter, like a DI splitter, where you've got a feed from the bass, which is going to be a DI straight out the splitter into the desk, and also a lead then going to the amp. If you've got another mic input, possibly mic up the bass amp if that's what he's used to. If it's like a nice sort of sounding bass amp, and then you've always got the clean feed of the bass amp. But no, don't take a DI out of the guitar amp.
Oh, wow, okay. And what about spillage then? What about spillage in the room? Do we have to divide everyone, or can we play as a unit? And, when it comes to then editing, is that going to be a problem?
So spillage or spill becomes a problem when you start saying, right, I want to take the guitar part from take 1 and the drums from take 2 and the bass from take 3, and try and lining them up, because that's the point you're going to get sort of skewing and phasing and horrible nasty and even like delays, slap back delays. If you're basically saying, right, take 1 was brilliant, but I want to take the verse from take 2 and just go, then you can do that. Then spill is not an issue. Spill becomes a problem when if you've got live vocal up, a live vocal mic, and you decide you want to pitch correct it because maybe you hit a duff note, then spill becomes an issue, because obviously you're trying to pitch correct the spill as well, which will sound bad. But if you're a band who's used to playing live and you basically want to make a demo or you want to recreate your live set, embrace the split, embrace the bleed, or embrace the spill.
Definitely. Yeah. Just try and get things as isolated as possible. Don't worry about putting amps in different rooms and stuff, because then you are going to have to deal with headphones and all that sort of stuff. But just try and baffle off as much as you can.
Okay. What about software? What would you recommend as a basic software?
Let's go on to the next big debate, which is going to be PC or Mac. And to be totally honest, in my opinion, if you and say this is from someone who uses both PC and Mac for audio recording, the big thing I'm going to say is it does not matter. You could go out and spend, I don't know, how much is a new Mac Pro or a laptop?
Well, you don't need that though.
I know. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. You could go to the Apple Store and buy an off-the-shelf, basic spec Mac, iMac, laptop, and it will be so far beyond what you could ever possibly need.
Okay.
You could do the same with a reasonably spec'd Dell PC, laptop, whatever. What you're looking for in either system is balance. You're looking for a reasonable amount of RAM, and by that I mean 8 gig or more. You're looking for a reasonably fast processor. Now, what that means in real terms these days is neither here nor there. For audio work, I would always recommend an Intel processor for PC, and these days it's going to be Intel or the M series chips from Apple. You do have to be careful with those at the moment because they're not entirely supported by everything. It might be worth checking, certainly with your console. If you were going to go and buy one of the new M series MacBook Pros or MacBooks, you would need to check first that your desk's driver software supports the new platform, which is why I wouldn't go anywhere near it right now. I'd go for an Intel Mac, a couple of years old, and save yourself 4 figures easily from going for one of the new ones. Okay. I've also heard recently that Slate Digital are having problems with getting their VRS 8 system over onto the new platform. So anyone who's invested in a 8-channel Slate interface and wants to buy a new Mac currently can't. But anyway, if you are someone who likes to tweak and likes to tinker, buy a PC. If you want it just to work, buy a Mac. End of. I think that's it. I think that's the discussion.
If you want to plug something in, turn it on and it to work, buy a Mac.
Buy a Mac.
Without doubt. Can I just ask, Stephen? Have you got what you're talking to us on at the moment? Have you got a separate screen, or is your current computer all built in?
This is actually my work one, so it's just a laptop with a couple of other screens. But I use a Mac. I've always used a Mac for the recording side of things, And
what Mac have you got?
Well, it's an old one now. It's just an iMac, just iMac one, but it's about 2009.
Oh, okay.
So it obviously needs to be upgraded, and that's where the question came from, because I want to upgrade. Is it worth me going out and buying a new Mac, kind of thing, or do I need to upscale it and upspec it before I get one,
Well, I was going to suggest an iMac. Sorry, I was going to suggest a Mac Mini, because if if you've already got a screen.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
But if you haven't got a screen, then you've got to pay for the screen. You've got to pay for your mouse. You've got to pay for all that sort of stuff on top. Although you could use your current iMac mouse and keyboard. But I think I'd just go and get an iMac.
Great.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Well, unless you're planning to record at a remote location, in that case, I'd just go and get a Mac laptop.
Okay, and that'll be enough, eh? That really will be enough.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
So I bought several years ago while we were in America at the NAMM show. I bought a 2013 13-inch MacBook Pro.
Right.
2013. So it's an old spec. I put some RAM in it. I think that was all. That was about all I did. It's an i5, i7 machine, and it is absolutely fine running Pro Tools. It is fine running Pro Tools. I can record 16 tracks simultaneously, no problem at all.
Yeah.
Wow.
Put plugins on every channel. Run reverbs, absolutely no problem at all. You do not need the latest all singing, all dancing. When you start to require more power, when you start to use virtual instruments, VIs, because they are thirsty. When you start to whack 19 different reverbs on and 17 different virtual instruments and 60 synths and 3 sample players and all that sort of stuff, that's when you need the raw power. Just to play back audio and put an EQ on and maybe a bit of reverb does not require the new 2019 Mac Pro. It just does.
You could actually do everything you need to do on a on an iPad Pro.
Yeah,
is that
right?
Yeah. You could definitely do. Yeah,
you could, but you wouldn't get the drivers for that particular console on an iPad.
That's very true. That is very true.
That's why I kind of dismissed iOS out of the equation. I mean, Paul and I have both done stuff on iOS, and it is awesome.
Yeah.
But if you want to see how fast hardware is outdated, buy an iPad, and then 6 weeks later, watch Apple bring out the latest revision.
Yeah.
So, moving on swiftly past the debate that is. DAW software.
Oh, what I think.
Where do you go?
I think. Oh, okay. You've got 2 different choices. If you wanted to buy the latest Mac, and you wanted to use the M1 processor, which is great, and it's going to be great, and you want everything to work, go and use Logic. Go and get a Mac. Go and get Logic, and everything will be fine. You could actually do everything you need to do. If you're just recording 8 tracks, you could probably do everything in GarageBand, James.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. I don't think you can record enough simultaneous tracks in GarageBand.
You can't record 8 at once.
I don't quote me, but I don't think you can.
Someone might know that. Okay, well then I would go and get, because if you buy a Mac, Logic is really reasonable. It's really reasonable, and it's one of the most comprehensive software out there. It's got everything you need on it. You don't need anything else, and it's designed to go with that Mac. Everything's so I'd probably look at that.
The truth of the matter is that all the major DAWs, with the exception of Ableton Live, all of them are trying to recreate a multi-track tape machine and a mixing desk. Now, if you're familiar with that environment, if you understand the whole kind of tracks and a mixer layout, you're just going to be flying. You're not going to struggle to. You might each of the DAWs, Pro Tools, Logic, Studio One, Reaper, Cubase, any I've forgotten, Nuendo. They all do the same thing effectively. They replace a multi-track tape machine and a mixing console. It's then which do you embrace and which one do you learn? There is going to be a learning curve, and it's going to feel like a smack in the face. Whichever one you do, there is going to be some YouTube time to put in.
Definitely.
Now, of course, there is another way. There is always another way, And the other way is to go with a hardware platform that gives you the software. And that, of course, is Universal Audio.
But okay.
Because you could probably pick up a second-hand Apollo 8P with 8 mic pre's, and you get Luna for free.
That's true.
Yeah, forever at the moment. And it's Mac friendly. The drivers work.
Yeah.
It sounds really good.
Yeah.
It's really easy to use. If you want to get into expandability and playing with plugins and saying goodbye to any options you ever had of having any money, it's an option. It's an option. It's probably a 4-figure option. I don't know what it is in Australian dollars, but you could probably get an 8P for £1,000, 1,500 quid.
Yeah, I think so. The only thing is, I think we're gonna, with all the different options, I think we're going to end up confusing Stephen. So I think need to.
Yep. I'm trying to make this for as much about everyone else who's watching as well.
Ah, okay.
I'm trying to be open source. But Luna, say Paul's done an absolute ton of videos on it on the channel. It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah,
it is.
Really good. It's really good,
and it's really free.
Yeah, and it's very much like a if you want to use it like a tape machine, it's very simple to use like a tape machine. Think of it like that.
It is Mac only, but as we've already said, and as Firebirds has said, it is Mac only. But that's not a problem because you already speak fluent Mac, so it's an option. But it is taking you down the recording studio route rather than the let's use our live mixer to capture our recording, which is the vibe I like. One of the things I was going to suggest actually obviously before we had our little pre-chat, we didn't know you had any existing hardware already. One of the units I use a lot for live recording is a thing called a Mackie DL32R, which is basically a 32 channel rack mounted digital mixer. 32 channels, 32 ins, 16 outs, which is amazing because you can run all your live PA monitors, everything from one unit. It's all iPad controllable. There's no actual console surface to it. And you can plug a hard drive in the back and record all 32 channels at the same time.
Wow.
And it's about 11, probably get one for about 1,300 quid now.
Yeah. Probably right,
very, very awesome. The limitation is I wouldn't want to go and record a symphony orchestra on Mackie preamps, but actually a rock band, I do it, well, when we used to do recording of live gigs, when there was live gigs, back in the day, they sound great. They work really well. So it was an option, but now we know there's this piece of gear. I think bringing this round, that Soundcraft mixer is going to be your savior with 8 mic pre's. Whack it into your Mac. Job is a good one. A Mac with Logic. I'm pretty sure the two are going to talk quite happily to each other. Go and record.
If you go and get an iMac, just make sure you've got a minimum of 8 gig of RAM, preferably 16, but 8 gig would be absolutely fine. And
if you're talking processors, don't go for the i3 one. I don't think there is actually an i3.
I don't do the i3 anymore. No.
I think you'd i5 or i7 or even i9 if there's an i9. The i9s get hot, but hey, it's not like you're putting it on your lap. I think that's the way forward. I don't think it matters which platform you embrace, as long as you embrace one and don't say, "Oh, I don't like that one. I want to jump," because they've all got their things. Just embrace it and get to know it. They all work.
The other option, if you did want to try a DAW, you can a Studio One do a monthly subscription. So you can try that for a few months and see how you get on with it. And it'll only cost you, I don't know, it's about £10 a month, so $20 a month, something like that.
As much as I love Pro Tools is not a cheap platform.
Don't even bother with that.
So my last bit is the other stuff. And I think in some cases, the other stuff is every bit as important as all the things we've talked about so far. First thing you are going to need, and this is maybe where you've come unstuck in the past, is a dedicated hard drive for your audio. An external Thunderbolt or USB Type-C external hard drive. Doesn't have to be huge because audio isn't massive. And by huge these days, I think you're going to struggle to get anything less than a terabyte, probably, which is going to be about enough recording for the next 10 years.
I just picked up. Do you know what? I picked up that today. Where is it? Up there. There we go. It's a little SSD scan disk thing, 1 terabyte.
Yeah.
100 quid. And it's tiny.
Yeah.
Fits in your pocket.
Yeah. An SSD will be absolutely perfect. I have even done recording back when my Macs had SD cards in them. I have done recording straight to SD card.
Wow.
And it's been absolutely fine. But don't ask your system drive to be your audio recording platform at the same time. Just because that's giving one thing too much to do. Let the system drive run the system. Let your audio drive capture all your audio.
They're only recording 8 tracks at once, though.
Yeah, but still, I would still that would be my even back in the day when I was recording 8 tracks at a time, I would still do to an external audio. Back in the day, it makes me sound ancient. And the other stuff, of course, you're going to need to make sure. And the weak link in the chain is always cabling. Okay. It's always cabling. The most noise you will get on recordings will come from cheap, shitty mic cables. And by that, I mean the ones that come with, I bought a Shure box set of, I think it was, they PG mics, drum mics.
Oh, yeah.
And they came with, the mics themselves, great. The cables they came with should have been burnt the moment I got them out of the packet. I should just throw them straight away because they were awful. Don't be tempted to cut corners. If you're any good with a soldering iron, or a soldering iron, depending on where you're from, make your own. It's easy. And it will save you a fortune. There. Has that completely confused you?
Oh, no, it's great. Like I said, that you guys really know your stuff. So, I mean, you know the options which someone can have. I mean, people probably listening online would be, looking at their own situation and take from that where they want to go, from it as well. So, no, that's great, guys. I appreciate that. It's really good advice.
I think just definitely stick with what you've got.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely stick with what you've got, and then you can upgrade the computer. That's what you need.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you need. That is technically all you need because you've got all the other stuff. You've got microphones, you've got leads, you've got headphones, you've got all that sort of stuff. Upgrade that, get that sorted, get that working, and then see how you can improve after you've got all that working, I think.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Good on you guys. Thanks very much.
My sort of final thought on this is change one thing at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go changing a million things because you're never going to work out where the faults are. Get it stable, then think, right, okay, let's change one thing. Change one thing at a time. Test. Change the next thing. Test. The only way to fault find if you're ever having problems.
Absolutely.
Only way to do it.
Absolutely.
Wow, I feel all empowering. Yeah.
We agree on something.
Good on you guys. Well, it was worth waking up early in the morning for all that, guys. Thank you very much for having me on.
Well, let us know what you do. Let us know what you go for. And if you need, you've got our emails now. So if you need any more help and stuff, if you're looking at something, don't worry about just sending us an email saying, "What do you think of this? What do you think of that?" We'd always be happy to. Yeah. We'd always be happy to, give advice.
Good on you guys. Appreciate that.
It's all right, mate.
Well, I hope you guys get out of lockdown soon and get out and play again. We're slowly happening here in Australia, playing again. Over the last couple of months, it's been more solos and duos because they don't want people dancing on the floors at the moment. Mind you, they're letting people go to football games and, 60, 70,000 people going to football games, but you can't have 30 people on a dance floor, which we can't understand. It's just really ridiculous. But
I'm glad it's not just the British government that are enforcing rules that everyone else goes, what the?
Yeah. Some of the ways they think of things is not right, and unfortunately, the entertainment industry here in Australia has kind of suffered out of all the industries, that and tourism, of course. We can't not tourism, but yeah, the musos are doing it tough, but we are slowly going that way. I mean, we've got major bands coming back in probably by the end of the year. We've got Guns N' Roses coming, Kiss is coming at the end of the year. Crowded House has played over in New Zealand now. They did a big tour, so it's starting to happen. So as long as we don't go back, we had a couple of weeks ago, we had a bit of a spike where a couple of cases were here, so they had a kind of 3-day lockdown, which affected a festival down in Byron, down in New South Wales, which is unfortunate because it's a festival that does really well over Easter. They get, like 16,000 people a day, and it was only 2 days before it was going to happen that they shut it down. So it's unfortunate, but we are in a better predicament than you guys are. So hopefully, give you guys another 6 months, you'll be slowly going that. So I wish you all the best with that. And again, thank you for having me on the show. I love your work. Like I always say that, but it's true. Your videos are great. It's really informative, and people are loving the way you do it. And it's really done professionally. And just keep it up. And I'm a big fan. So we'll leave it at that, eh?
Cheers, Stephen. That's very kind of you.
No problems. All the best, guys.
Take care,
Cheers.
mate.
Thanks again, mate.
All right then. Bye-bye.
Take care. That was fun. That was a bit different.
That was nice. God, I tell you, hasn't the sound changed now? I was so used to the sound reverberating around Stephen's room. It's all nice and calm now.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Should we do some questions?
Yes, indeed. Let's fire away through.
Where are we?
I've gone back, and I think we're starting.
Sorry,
I've gone back to the top, and I think we're starting with
Slurricane.
Slurricane, yes, I think so.
Slurricane says, when using a looper through send and return jacks, why do my loops sound changed when changing patches? I want a clean sound loop, then play lead over it. I have the artist and running the tone studio. Because I know what that is. That's because on the Boss Katana, you can change where the loop is. So you need to go into Tone Studio software and move where the loop occurs. And you need it after the amplifier.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's exactly.
So that was an easy one, wasn't
it? Yeah, he's 1 for 1.
Hank Stone says, evening, gentlemen. Paul, is that a PRS bird on your shirt? No, it's not. It's not actually. It does look a bit like one, doesn't it? It does, yeah. There's definitely some copyright issues going on there. I've been talking to PRS. I've been talking to PRS direct.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, hello.
No, it's not a freebie. No, I'm definitely not getting. There's no way they're going to give me a freebie. Yes,
Paul Drew signature model.
Oh, and that'd be nice, wouldn't it? That'd be the least sold guitar ever.
Well, it depends, wouldn't it? If it was a Telecaster like all the other ones you've got.
Okay, where are we? Yes, I'm going to skip by the hi everyone's and all that. But hi to everyone. Hi everyone that's joined us. First thing, Stephen, the background post. Oh, yeah. Stephen's background poster was awesome. It was good, wasn't it?
It was very awesome.
Mike Hayton says, is it me or do Fender style guitars look great when relicked, but Gibson's not? That is my emotional response to Gibson's and the authentic and the authentic debacle.
Do you know what? I actually think you're right, Mike. I don't think Gibson do a very good job of their relicking.
Oh, hold on. I think you're
maybe it's because I think Fender are doing a bigger job of the relict thing.
Yeah,
I think there are a lot more relict Fenders out there than there are relict Gibsons out there.
Yeah,
maybe.
Some.
Okay. Right.
There we go. I mean, Gibson have. I mean, the top relicer at Gibson is a guy called Tom Murphy, and he does something called Murphy Labs.
I've seen these recently and gone.
So Murphy Lab relics are absolutely stunning, I think.
They are thousands.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely. But that we're not talking about prices. We're talking about do they do? And for me, like a beaten up like 1958 Les Paul. You know, when I say beaten up, aged nicely. I tell you what, that the gold tops. I love when you get a gold top and it sort of gets all the green
Mm-hmm.
What do you
Yeah,
call it?
the green spack. It's not spackle, is it? Like the green cracking in the
Yeah.
the lacquer. Yeah,
That's it. But it reacts with your sweat and it turns green. It just looks great. It's like is it copper that goes green?
yeah. Copper goes. Yeah,
I've forgotten what the process is called. Someone's going to mention it in a minute.
oxidization is what
Yeah,
oxidation.
no, it's different. It's a different. Yes, it is that, but it's a word. It's a word specifically for that.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, where are we? Yeah,
just a little off topic for a minute.
Yeah.
Did you see the new Epiphone P90 gold top they've done?
No.
Oh, it looks so cool. It's a signature model. It looks like a Les Paul Junior, but hasn't got a top cutaway. One P90, about 650 quid. And do you know what? For an Epiphone, it looks stunning.
Yeah,
it looks really cool.
Because the thing about Epiphones, which I think makes them look cheaper, is that it's a headstock, and and I think recently they've sorted out the headstock to make it more Gibson, haven't they? On some of them. Yeah, great. Where are we? Yeah, Matt Wright saying Glyn John drum technique. Yeah, that's a definite. I think that was a good move. Fractal need to make a drum kit, definitely. Upgrade the Mac. Upgrade the Mac. Matt says again, upgrade the Mac and use Studio One basic version. Yeah, definitely. Mike Ayton says microphones are more important than mic amps and interface.
Agreed.
Getting stuff on tape is not hard. Mixing it is. So get someone else to mix it.
Again, valid points.
Even a moderate computer. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to skip past all the Stephen ones because Stephen can look at these. Hold on. Okay. God, I thought Mike Ayton was dissing rumors. Then I was about to get. It's about to be nuclear. Okay, let's move on. Let's find some. So we want some questions. Okay, Mac versus yes. Sorry, guys, I'm just going through the questions as we've. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Reaper's a good choice.
Reaper's a great choice, and it's not free. That people, everyone says, "Oh, Reaper's free." No, it's not. It is. I think the license used to be. The wording is now quite ambiguous to say yes, you can get a free version, but if you want a version where you actually get support, it's still inexpensive, but it ain't free.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, it probably is a Jared James Nichols signature. He's got a black one as well. That Epiphone guitar, James.
Yes, really nice. Really, it's exactly what it is. And I went, do you know what? I haven't looked at a guitar for quite a while and gone, oh, do you know, in the affordable range and gone, oh, I really like that.
Nice. Yeah.
I actually looked at that and went, yeah. Because I have been looking for something with P90s.
Yeah. The word is patina, but the patina is more the cracking, and this is more than that. It's the way that particular metal. What is it? Is it copper that reacts like that and it goes green?
Copper, yeah.
It's called something.
Yeah, copper goes green. Yes.
It's not verdigris. No, it's not. It's something like that. Anyway,
verdigris is the stuff that you pray stays when you clean the underside of your car. Because if you clean all the verdigris off, the car starts to fall apart. If you own a vintage car,
is that what it is?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, where are we? The word patina. Evening, guys. I'm using the latest Pro Tools with free Melodyne, which I'm using for vocals. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
Pro Tools are now doing. You get Melodyne with Pro Tools now.
You get. Do you know? I haven't looked at it. I think it's what they used to call Melodyne Solo, where you can basically have what.
Great.
But but Melodyne's great. Melodyne is the okay. Here, sweeping statement time, everybody. Melodyne is the most transparent vocal processor. Pitch correction processor.
The guys at Synchro Arts would disagree with you there, but
that's why I said sweeping statement. There you go.
The Firebirds. What do you recommend for sample rate when using this on vocals? I used 44.1 on our last album and didn't think the correction was that good. Either operator error or get a better vocalist. Interesting.
Okay, so I've said this many times that I record at 96K whenever possible. And that is not necessarily because I can hear the difference between 48 and 96K recordings. It is purely for processing. Processing a 96K signal gives you twice as much data to work with as a 48K signal. So you get twice as much data. Yes, you take up twice as much hard drive space, but plugins and certainly pitch correction and heavy processing plugins sound better at higher sample rates. If I could record at 192K, I probably still would go at 96 because I can't hear the difference between 96 and 192 as much as I can 48 to 96.
Interesting. Yeah. Anodized. No, it's not called anodized. What is it? Oh, it's going to bug me. Anyway, I'll let you know next week. If you look at that, do you remember when I did that video on the Lazy J amp and I borrowed Jesse's gold?
Oh, yeah.
The 1952 Gibson Les Paul Gold Top.
Not a reissue.
No, it was a real thing. Really unusual. Yeah, really great. Just didn't sound like any other. I mean, I know it had P90s, but it didn't sound like any other P90 guitar that I've ever played. Why does Pro Tools eat up so much of your computer's resources, James?
I don't really think it does. That's a bit like saying, "Can you start my car?" Yes, from here. We don't know enough about the issue, Downbeat, to really dive into that one. Maybe ping us a mail with your setup. What you're doing? Are your drivers up to date? Are you running the latest version of Pro Tools? Are you running it on an up to date machine, be that PC or Mac? All these things make a difference. Pro Tools is not. All DAWs are hungry. They require a lot of your system resources, but Pro Tools is no more or less, in my experience, than anything else. So a bit more info required for that one, please.
Yeah, definitely. I actually think Pro Tools is quite good for performance.
Yeah, it's quite lean.
Yeah, it's quite lean. Logic, yeah, especially since they updated it like 5-6 years ago, whatever it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, Logic's the one that is more sluggish, I would say, if you're running like a lot of tracks. Yeah, James, Verdigris. It is called Verdigris.
Oh, okay.
John Green knows his onions because he's got that signature.
Yes.
Gibson that's exactly doing that.
I always thought Verdigris was if you're trying to get a bolt off a with a spanner.
Yeah.
That stuff that's
called rust, mate.
Yeah, no, it's called Verdigris. I didn't realize Verdigris was an actual word for an actual process. So I like that. I am informed. I like that. Well done, John. Thank you.
Reaper is way faster. I built a PC on a budget. Yeah, I think the only thing about you can build a PC, but you have to be that way inclined, I think, don't you?
Absolutely. I wouldn't do it. I run a PC. I have done relatively open heart surgery on it, as in I've changed the RAM, I've changed the graphics card, GPU. I still fear going into the BIOS and all that sort of stuff. Nah, for that stuff, I send it to someone, they do it, I get it back.
Okay. Jeff Shield says he put a Wazza speaker in a Katana 100 combo, and it's a noticeable improvement. So John Waller says he ended up getting the Katana Artist Series upgrading from the 50-watt Mark II, and there's a noticeable difference in sound, likely due to the Wazza speaker. Good choice, mate. Nice one.
And a speaker upgrade is not something to fear. You can pick up good second-hand speakers on eBay. To my ears, a well-worn-in greenback or vintage 30 sounds way better than the new ones.
Yep. Matt Wright says, I keep looking at a 1956 true historic Les Paul gold top with P90s. Demoed one and it played wonderfully, just 3.5k short.
Whoa, that's a lot of money for a guitar.
Yeah. Nice though. Nice. I think if I was going to get a Les Paul now, if it wasn't like an R8 or an R9, I think I'd be interested in one with P90s, I think.
I think say the next guitar I'm going to buy will be a 335,
Right.
And it's going to have to wait till January, I think. For NAMM, I'll come back with one. Even if I don't get it at the show, we'll take Joey, who came on last week, up on his offer, and we'll go guitar shop shopping, because him knows the places to go shopping in LA.
Excellent. Nice.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, John Green says a gold paint used by Gibson particularly has a high level of copper in it, hence that's why it went green.
Brilliant stuff.
He knows his onions.
Yeah, and his celluloses and his what's the other one? Cellulose and what's the other type of paint?
You completely confused me now.
There's cellulose and there's the other one.
Oh no, what's the matter with me?
Nitrous.
Yeah. So nitro is what I always prefer, and it comes on the Fender custom shops.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think it makes a difference. What do you think of the Celestion G12 H30, James? Is that your favourite one?
The GT12, which is the one that you get bog standard in a Marshall 4x12, is an awful sounding speaker. No, GT75 is an awful sounding speaker. It does absolutely nothing for your signal. I don't know if this is that, but I suspect a G12H30 is not a GT75, because I think it's a 30-watt version rather than a 75. I couldn't say for certain. The Celestians that I like are greenbacks, for obvious reasons. Don't try and get a greenback to do clean; it won't do it, in my opinion. Vintage 30s, which that's a sound, probably Vintage 30 is probably the best all-rounder, hotly followed by a creamback or a redback, because I've tried both of those recently and liked them. But I remember a few years ago, I mean, this is going back quite a while, at a guitar show, and there was a demonstrator who basically said, "You think the speaker doesn't make a difference? Listen to this." And he had about 6 different cabinets with different models in, and he was switching between them. And I went, I never knew how much difference the speaker made. So it does make a massive difference.
Big old difference. David Labie says, am I the only one completely stoked by STL Amp Hub and the insane value for the price? $10 a month. The response, punch, and thickness is incredible in every single amp model so far. Best I've ever used. Interesting.
There's a job for you next week then.
Yeah, I did the review of someone recommended, I can't remember who it was. Someone recommended the review I did.
Yeah. And I thought it sounded great. I really did. It was a limited sound. The options were limiting, but sometimes that can be a good thing. But the demo timeout feature, no need. Absolutely no need.
No need, is there? There was no need for that. ML Labs.
Yes. Great sounding, but that demo feature sucks.
Yeah, I thought it was all right. I thought the whole thing was all right. I thought for $30, it's great.
Yeah,
absolutely great. Okay, where are we? John Waller says, for sure, no desire to do PC builds, but I'm a Mac user. Side note on the M1 Mac, Logic runs without a hiccup. Yeah, see, that's why. I think if you're going for that's what it is, isn't it?
But the only reason I said you don't go M1 yet is because I don't think that mixer, that Soundcraft signature mixer, will have an M1 compatible driver.
That's probably true.
Where you score, excuse me, with companies like Focusrite, Universal Audio, Antelope, those guys are keeping their drivers up to date all the time because they have to, because their stuff is being used on those platforms. Soundcraft, who make great products, make great sounding mixers, and will have a driver software writing team, or will sub it out to another company, won't be so hot on keeping the stuff up to date.
Yeah,
in my experience.
Really good point. I understand that the Apollo interface have onboard DSP. Does that mean you can run plugins on board the interface and cut down on latency, or am I misunderstanding what they are doing? That's exactly what that means.
Yep. And it also means you can track with the plugin engaged, so you commit the sound of that plugin, be it a guitar processor or whatever, a mic pre, EQ, and you can burn it into the recording, or you can just monitor it so you hear the lovely EQ or the guitar, but you record clean. That's the cool thing about it. And then, of course, you've got that power to use in your mixes. So if you've got a unit with 4 or 6 processors, UAD Shark chips, you get that processing to use in your mix as well as your live recording.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're on fire tonight.
Yeah. Is that what the EVH cabs come with? I don't know, actually. Going back to the those Celestion G12s.
Yeah.
Overdrive Guitar Channel, Neural DSP are the best amp sims I've tried so far. I think they are really good. I think they're really good. I think they're geared. A lot of them are geared for certain players. I think, apart from I can't remember the one I did a review of recently. The guy, oh man, it's 9 o'clock and my brain just goes to mush. Yeah, a lot of them are high gain stuff. I think it's still different. It's still very different to plugging into an amp.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, they are great. They are very good. ML Sound Lab, yeah, that's the one. That's the one I did. Yep, James, there are some issues with the certain audio units that are not updated.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's with the M1 chips.
Yeah, okay. So Downbeat Exigate says at Overdrive Guitar Channel, try ML Sound Labs CB4. It's a diesel VH4 with new Verna technology. Now, I tried that first of all and I didn't like it. That's why I didn't do it. But everyone's different. It's different.
Yep.
If you like diesel amps, great.
Diesel do nicely.
Yes, diesel do nicely. Corey Wong, yes, thank you, John.
He's a bit good, isn't he?
Huh?
I'm new to the Corey Wong party. I heard some of his stuff and went,
he's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's great.
To the point where they're flogging tickets for gigs, and I'm thinking, I would go and watch him. I'd go and listen to him.
Oh yeah, you'd like Wolfpack, yeah.
Yeah, love it.
That'd be your sort of Widdly Muso sort of stuff.
Yeah, Muso. Some would call it one thing, and some would call it another. My wife would call it Muso Dross.
Have you seen the Wolfpack YouTube thing where they're playing at Madison Square Gardens?
No.
Look at that. It's unbelievable. It's really, really good and really entertaining. Yeah, they're brilliant.
Cool.
So Downbeat says he's a metal player, so it's the VH4 is right up his alley. Yeah, I completely agree. That'll be up your definitely. It's a very sort of driven amp.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow. Did we get through the whole list?
Well, we've got through the whole list so far.
Wow.
Have you looked at any gear news this week?
Other than that, that guitar that I saw and went yummy for 649 quid or whatever it was, I thought that's a really tempting beastie. No, I've been a little bit, to be honest, I've been in house hell this week a little bit. And I won't bore everyone with what I bored you with before we came on air, but it's taking up quite a lot of my effort. And of course, we had the long weekend, so I actually had the weekend with the kids, which was really nice. So I've been a little bit out of the diving into the gear news loop, but I'm sure there's stuff out there. I think the big news in the UK is that on Monday, pubs open for outside drinking again.
Woohoo!
And my wife's back to work. Sorry. Which can only be good because it means we're the right side of this whole COVID-19 debacle. And hopefully, the next thing is entertainment and hospitality and all that sort of stuff. And we'll all get back to some form of normality soon, hopefully. So whether you're a vaxxer or an anti-vaxxer, I don't care. I just want to get back to normality as soon as possible and start doing gigs and events and stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's been a pretty I'm very lucky. I've got my wife, the kids, and I've got a bunch of online friends. And occasionally, I'm seeing people to do stuff in the real world, but it's not the same as actually going out to gigs and seeing people and having to fight your way to the bar and all that sort of stuff that we all used to complain about. And I bet we will the minute we have to queue to get a beer again. But hey,
Online friend, you got online friends. You know those girls that with the cameras, mate. They're not your friends.
are they not?
No, they're not. They're not actual friends.
They keep telling me they love me for a long time.
Anyway, John Green says.
They don't.
Paul, John Green says, Paul, have you found one of the PRSs that you were after? So yes, John. So I'm really tempted. This is really interesting. Well, it's interesting for me. I was about to buy a PRS limited semi-hollow special. Okay.
Right.
And the guy that was selling it, funny enough, is another YouTube is a YouTube guy as well.
Anyone we know?
James on guitar. He's got a few
Nice.
Nice little channel. He's really nicely shot, actually. Anyway, he had one for sale. There was something in the back of my mind that was going, no. I didn't like the color, but I thought the price is okay, so that I can live with that. I can live with that. And then because we couldn't, you can't go and try things out. You can't go into someone's house and try it out. And as I said before, my son is at a higher risk, so we try not to. We try and stick to the rules. And yeah, and so he did me like a little demo, and it's so funny, like because his playing was so different to the way that I play, I still couldn't hear the sounds out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And you never know whether that one guitar is the dud out of the whole group of the ones they made that day, the Friday afternoon one.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So yes. So fingers crossed. I've been talking to the guys at PRS because I've done some videos where the video for the DGT did okay actually, and PRS sent me a thanks. They didn't ask me to do it or anything. It was just completely off my own bag. So I sent them a message saying, "Is there any chance we could do like some sort of artist dealy thing?" And they haven't got back to what they've asked me what I'm after, what guitar I'm after, and then a price will come back. So we'll see.
Cool, interesting.
Yes. What do you recommend to record over backing tracks and getting them into video, like your gear demo from Jeff Shields? Do you mean interface, Jeff, or do you mean guitar? Software? Tell us what you mean. Be glad to answer that question.
Yep, absolutely.
Can't wait to queue for a beer at a concert. My first concert will be Rage Against the Machine mid-June. Oh, wow.
Oh, awesome.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be a great one.
That would be good.
I've seen Rage 3 times.
Have you?
Yeah.
Is it always a bit of a mosh?
I was in the mosh pit, yes.
Yeah.
I was a lot younger and a lot more stupid and probably permanently a lot more drunk. So that kind of fitted in.
Lando, I can finally watch again. Been working at the office for the last month, but I'm working from home again. Hey, good to have you back, mate.
Great to have you back.
Good to have you back. Mike Aiton's gone out of the house. He's not in the house no more. Good night, mate. Where's Jack? I was wondering when that was happening.
It's been a while.
It has been a while, yeah. Jack needs to come back on. Matt Wright says, when you change the cab in an amp sim, it's amazing how much it changes the tone. Paul's great advice to me was pick the amp head style, pick the cab, then dial the detail on the tone.
Amen.
Amen. Thanks, mate. Jeff Shields process.
Oh, as in how we go about doing it.
Oh, I see. What and actually record them to a video. Okay. So
I think our process is quite different.
Is it?
I think mainly because you're a better guitar player than I am. so our
You're a
process is
better
very,
drummer than I am.
well, I hope so. Difference is I own guitars. You don't have a drum kit.
That's true. That's true. I should never be let anywhere near a drum kit.
Good.
Okay. Process. The way that I do it is amplifier into an aux box or a 2-note torpedo or the Boss tube amp expander. Do you know it's complicated? It's really complicated because then I run into a DAW. That DAW is then running into a different DAW, which is playing the track and recording. But that's only because I've got to talk as well over it sometimes.
What people forget, and this is not a dig at Jeff, but this is just our process. It's hard to make a recording.
Yeah.
But it's really hard to make a recording of making a recording.
Yes, that's the thing. That's the hard thing.
It's an added level of complexity that people forget, that you've got cameras and a voiceover microphone that you wouldn't normally have when you're just recording into your DAW. What you also have to do is capture the screen of the DAW. If you're making tutorial videos, but you can't use that same DAW to capture your voice because you're going to stop and start and jump all over the place. It is complicated. It's a very complicated thing. I generally either record to 2 DAWs on 2 different machines.
Oh,
yeah, because my brain can't, because I'm using a PC and internal routing on PC is not great. Whereas you can do it a lot easier on a Mac because of Loopback and Soundflower and various other things. I tend to run my PC is again, depending on what I'm demoing as well. If I'm doing plugin demos, they tend to be on PC. For example, if I'm doing APB stuff for MacDSP, they have to be on Mac, because APB only runs on Mac.
right.
So I have to be able to swap between which is my master and which is my slave. And it's quite frustrating sometimes.
Yeah, I bet it is.
But yeah, it's not an easy thing. I think we should, at some point, we'll do a video on making videos. So we'll actually make a video on making a video of making a recording.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, it is really hard. It's the amount of times, and also when you've got a microphone as well, the amount of nonsense comes out your mouth.
Yep.
I mean,
even worse
you
than normal.
hear it anyway. Huh?
Even worse than normal.
Yeah, it is. It's terrible. So it takes ages. But some people can just do it and they're amazing. But yes, we'll do a video. We'll do a video on it, mate.
But also remember that 5-minute video did not take 5 minutes to make. It took a day, at least a day. And anyone who says, "Oh, I can rattle out a 5-minute screen cap video in 5 minutes," has never done it.
Well, there's certain people that do, and it looks like it's been rattled out in 5 minutes. But
yeah, to get any level of what's the word, production value, and all those sort of things takes time. It just does.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm bigging us up, but I'm bigging us up.
John Green says, "I sent you a link to a used one in the Studio Rats Facebook Messenger. Have a look later." Oh, cheers, John. Nice one, mate. I'll have a look at that as soon as we finish here. Actually, James, keep yabbering on.
I'll keep yabbering. What do you want me to yabber about?
We'll answer the next question, and then I'll bring it up on screen.
I was going to. This is from the Firebirds. What do you both recommend for online collaboration and practicing as a band, avoiding latency? Oh, the ultimate question. Because at the moment, it's really, really, really hard. It's funny actually, because Mike Hayton's just legged it. The only way to really do it and to do it properly is using a system by a company called Source Elements, and it's expensive. You can do it, so you can have 2 people on the other side of the world if need be, and they can. I don't know if anyone's done it with music yet. People do it with voiceover all the time, but you can have 2 Pro Tool systems locked together across the internet, and you can play together at the same time, recording into your own local DAWs, and it just works. It's very, very cool, but it's expensive, and you need to have a reasonably good internet connection, and it only works at the moment, I think, for 2 people. There isn't a way to have a string quartet, everyone sat in a different country, and be able to play. I don't think there is.
Yeah. Right.
I can see a time when it's going to happen, because I think the lockdown has really accelerated everyone's development along those lines, because everyone's going, that's what we want to do. Bless him. I had to explain to my dad that all these videos we're watching online of all these kind of virtual bands of people recording in different studios wasn't all recorded at the same time. Bless him. But he is over 70 and doesn't really understand the internet. So
do you want to have a look?
Yes.
I did actually see this one today. Let me share. God, I forget how to do things. What's the matter with me? Here we go. Where am I?
Right. Click it on then.
There it is.
I don't know. Oh, I've just had a crisis. That is a bit yummy, isn't it?
It's nice, isn't it? So that's, yeah. Unfortunately,
I'm not sure I like the color.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I can't work it out.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's almost like it should be blended in just a little bit more.
Or it should be one color or the other, not both.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, you're right. I like both colors. I just think I just think, which is really surprising for PRS, I just think the sunburst isn't that good. No. I think it's a little bit too narrow around here.
I just don't think that's a great burst. It's not great, but going from grey burst to that kind of burnt orange.
Yeah. Okay. Should we hide it now? I'm going to stop it.
Yeah, it's gone.
Okay.
It's not there.
Yeah. So yeah, the only thing about that one, John, is I thought it's a little bit expensive because, yeah, I don't know. I don't know yet. But thanks. Yeah, thanks very much for sending it through, mate. Really appreciate it. I'll definitely keep my eyes open on it. Lando, are HSS Geets the ultimate Geets? Just picked up a Godin Canadian Geet company. I like the Geet. HSS, and it may be the only Geet I ever need. Loving it. Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to think. Is it the ultimate guitar? Do you like HSS?
I have no idea.
Humbucker single. Humbucker in the bridge. Right. Single.
Humbucker in the bridge.
Humbucker in the bridge.
Yeah, single. See, no, I do like a humbucker in the neck.
Yeah.
I like that kind of oozy Les Pauly tone, which is why, for me, the ultimate gigging guitar is my Eggle, because I can have. It hasn't got humbucker, single humbucker like that PRS, or it had one of those narrow fields. What are they called? Narrow field? Is that the word? Yeah. It's only got twin Seymour Duncan humbuckers, but you can tap them, and you can tap either or, which is nice.
Yeah, nice.
And then you can have outers, inners, front. It's quite a varied guitar. What you can get, the tones you can get out of it. That, to me, I mean, if they put a center on it, that would be the ultimate
center.
As in, because you've got it's twin humbuckers.
Yeah.
You had a center single coil.
Oh no. That's 80s. That's 80s shred machine. That's single hum.
Yeah, that's what I've had, because then you can tap the humbuckers.
Oh,
and that becomes then the most that's a brilliant guitar for live, because you can go right, Strat, Les Paul, close enough.
Interesting. Mr. Simon Curd's in the house. He said he wants to get Telecaster. What should he go for?
How much you got?
That's true. Yeah, Simon, let us know. Well, we can have a chat about this as well.
Yep.
Me and Simon can have a chat about this because I know Simon well. But if money was no object, I would get, if you want to get a Fender, get a custom shop.
Yep. And I didn't buy a custom shop because I didn't have that much money. Well, it's funny. The last few guitars I've bought have all come from Guitar Center in America, because I've been at NAMM and I've dropped the hi, I'm English and I'm really keen and I've got money because your exchange rate is so rubbish at the moment. Let me try your guitars. And the telly I've bought is the 60th anniversary American standard. I basically went, I want a Telecaster. I don't want a Telecaster that's trying to be something else. I want a Telecaster. And I tried probably 25, 30 different tellies of different price brackets. And that was my favorite by a country mile, because not all custom shops are, most custom shops are amazing. Not every single one.
I think that's where I disagree, because with the custom shop, that is the difference. You're paying for the best wood, you're paying for the best pickups, you're paying for the best everything. That they don't let a decent guitar out the factory.
That's true. But
so
I mean,
if it's crappy, if it's the Friday afternoon one, that goes back.
Yeah, but there are, but a custom shop guitar is normally what, $2,000 minimum spend?
Oh, mate, you'll be lucky.
Yeah,
lucky
$3,000 minimum spend, probably British pounds.
But secondhand, so I that's why I think get a secondhand custom shop.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would do. If you don't want to spend that sort of money, Simon, I'd probably
try some. Is the honest answer. Go to a shop that's got a load. When you can go to a shop.
Oh, that sounds like a date for me and Simon. I tell you what, so we'll go to Guitar when the shop opens, and we'll go and try a load out. That sounds like a fun day.
There's a great idea for a shoot.
What's that?
There's a great idea for a shoot. Going how to guitar shop, how to choose a guitar.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Shoot, that means I can tag along then. we can actually go for. I don't know who Simon is. I mean, I'm sure he's a nice guy, and I'm sure we'll get along fine. If you're
Simon is the husband of Catherine's, my wife's one of her best friends. So Simon's the husband of Abby. So yeah.
And if there is beer involved, it's always better.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But I think that'd be quite a good video.
He buys a telly. That's a good title.
I think that's quite a good video, actually.
I think that'd be fun.
Things to do, and yeah. I don't think anyone's done it either, so that's why I like the idea of it.
So, yeah, Rhett Scholl's done something like that, but I think that was with an amp. But yeah.
Right. Okay.
Matt Wright says, Paul, thanks for the studio tour. It was really interesting to see changes in your workflow. Would you be able to do a behind the scenes video on how you film and produce the videos? Funny enough, Matt, I've today something arrived which is going to completely change the way that I do videos.
Have you got it out the box yet?
Yeah. It's all plugged in. It's amazing. I can't lift it up to show people. I can't even. No, it doesn't even go on camera. But yes, I will definitely do that. That could be a fun video. I wonder how many people would be interested.
I think you'd be surprised. Lots.
Really?
Because the system that you've just bought, I won't give the game away, is also being used by Dave Weckl for his live online classes. It's being used by Pete Erskine for his online classes. I think a lot of people are using that system now because it has become really, really good. You've gone for which ones did you get? Did you get the Pro, the Mini, or the Plus?
The Mini Pro ISO.
Right. Okay.
Which is the top of the range one for the four cameras.
Yeah. I'm going to go for the 4K purely because hey, it's me, and I can use it for other things. It's a very, very cool system. I think there's a lot of cool video going to come out about that thing.
Yes. I agree.
So no,
I'm going to do that.
It's not something that's going to bore people. There's a lot of people using that system now, so I think it'll be really cool.
No, that's very true. I'll do that. I will do that. John Green says it looks like someone's been sick on it. That I think he's referring to that PRS.
I think you're right.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Lando says Sir Telly. Yeah, definitely. Sir
Have you got
Telly.
one of those?
Huh?
Have you got one of those?
I've got one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, I think it's saying to Simon about Telecasters. The only thing is,
SUHR, not SIR.
what's that?
SUHR, not SIR. Sir
Yes.
Telly.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Sir Telly, very good. Sir Telly. Yeah. The only thing is, Lando, is that Simon's got a nice PRS Custom 22 with 2 humbuckers. So I think he probably wants something that's going to be different to that, or very different to that. So I'm imagining Simon wants like traditional Telecast, but we'll definitely check all that out. And
Nice.
guitar, I do Sirs, so you can check that out. Actually, no, I'm talking rubbish. Sir do a standard telly as well, don't they?
Yeah.
Which is really good. Steve Resendez says, I just got an Eric Johnson Strat
That's the one
with a rosewood fretboard. It's fantastic. Yeah, that's nice.
Is it the bound rosewood fretwood, rosewood fretboard? Because if it's the bound one, I don't like it. But they're amazing guitars. I don't like bound guitars. That's just a me thing. But yeah, Eric Johnson Strat is on my shopping list.
I like the one he did recently with the F holes, and someone else copied. Yeah, Lando just said with F holes. Jeff Shields, the American original is a great option. Yeah, definitely. Simon saying it's a date. Newbie buys a telly. Look out for a used Fender Select Telecaster. Interesting.
That sounds good.
Yeah. Lando, never fear. Sir Telly is here. Sir Telly, let's get it. Does Cubase have remote recording built in? I thought I came across that before. What do you mean by remote
recording?
Oh, I see. Where like 2 people can. Actually, there is something where 2 people can sync. That was done. Maybe that was Cubase that did something like that, and you could record at the same time, but there's a massive latency or something.
It's going to be a
Yeah,
huge latency. The real time thing, as in, even if we're in the same time zone, there is nothing that I know of yet that can put 3 people on an internet connection and all play in time to a central click track, for example. There's nothing around that I know of. I'm pretty sure that the lockdown status around the world will have pushed the development of such a system on leaps and bounds. But at the moment, our hands are tied by the evils of latency.
Yeah. Steve says he also has the thin line in vintage white. Very nice. White thin line. Ooh, I love some ivory finishes and F holes. Definitely. Right. Well, I think we're probably there.
I think we are. Other than Lando has actually come up for the title of his sex tape.
What's that?
Sir Telly is here. Oh dear. And on that,
hold on. Okay, one more question. Curious if you guys stick to the same string spacing type guitars. Are you Fender versus Gibson? No, it doesn't bother me.
Nope. It's funny actually. There's been a lot of talk about that recently online. I've seen a lot of it on Facebook where people are talking about string spacing and nut spacing and string heights. And I really couldn't give a monkeys. If the guitar feels good, it feels good. If it feels like a dog, it probably is. Saying that though, I did try someone's Strat once. Got up at an open night type thing, and the guitar was unplayable to the point where even a half step bend was finger wrenching. The next year, played the same guitar, and he obviously had it set up, and it was beautiful. And I went, "Oh, that's easier." So, setup has a lot to do with it. Cheaper guitars set up well feel really good. Expensive guitars set up badly feel really bad.
Yeah, I think all guitars. Yeah, I think you're right there.
We've said before, haven't we? The price of a setup is well worth it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. If you don't know what you're doing with it, I think it's worth because you'll find it easier and you'll progress further as well. If you're,
Mhm.
yeah. Okay, I guess we're done.
I think we are.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining us.
So much for joining us. Yep, indeed. We'll be back next week with more of the same. I think we'll have another mix review critique thing to do next week.
We'll
As
get that in quickly.
one of our brethren reached out to us and said, to have a listen to that one. Thank you for joining us as ever. And yeah, keep your questions coming in. Keep your video suggestions coming in. We're always after stuff like that. I mean, we've had some great ideas and some great content ideas come out tonight. So yeah, we look forward to seeing you next week. But have a great one. Stay safe and healthy and all that. And we will see you again very soon. Good night, one and all.
Cheers, guys.